The number one reason we chose this site is because of the location. We wanted to be really centralized in the town of Plantation, and this location was perfect. However, it did have some challenges because it was a beauty salon before we took it over. So we had to demolish the entire beauty salon first, which was phase 1, before we could even start construction. So that made the timeline a little bit longer, and the permitting process longer because we had to go through the demo phase and demo permitting, get that approved before we could move to the construction phase. But Anthony and BuildPoint along the way were great. They were used to this type of project, understanding what it took to do the demo phase, but also doing the construction phase. So their expertise and their experience dealing with this type of project was perfect, and was one of the main reasons I chose them. When we signed our lease here, our first thing was to go and find a general contractor. And there was a few different ones that were recommended to me that I interviewed with. But Anthony from BuildPoint, from the minute I met him, he was really approachable, really straightforward. He knew construction and he had experience in the town of Plantation. And he made me feel really comfortable with choosing him over some of the other competitors I spoke with. One of the great things with BuildPoint is they come with the whole team approach. So they provide the architect and engineer. They are understanding of the permitting process here in the town of Plantation. And then of course they have expertise in construction and really the details, because Lindora, the details and the finishing were really important to me to make sure this space looked beautiful and welcoming. And Anthony proved to me that he had the experience in all those facets. Another great thing about BuildPoint and Anthony is that his team was extremely approachable. If I had any questions or concerns, I could call them or email them, and in a minute they would get back to me, which also made me feel really confident in the process as we were going through it, because it took several months for the entire process to come to fruition. And all along, Anthony was very, very approachable and really answered any of my concerns I had. The permitting took longer than I was expecting, even though Anthony told me it was going to take a long time. But it took a long time that I had to readjust my opening and pre-opening schedules to make sure that the timing of opening the business, mirrored the timing of the demolition and construction process. But again, Anthony was really good to keep me on point. And he really stuck to the time frame that he committed to, which really made my job easier because I could do everything else I needed to do in the pre-opening operations to be ready to open once the construction was finalized. I think the great thing about BuildPoint is that they're transparent, they're upfront, they're easy to communicate with, and they stick to their timelines and their budget. And for me, one of the most important things as an owner when you're building and starting a new business is to be on budget and on time, and those two things BuildPoint did a great job with.